Welcome to Witch Way. I'm Elise and this is the real-world witch lore of Hellboy, the Crooked Man. Released in 2024, this horror stars Jack Kesey as Hellboy, Madeline Rudolph as Joe Song, Jefferson White as Tom Farrell, Hannah Margaretson as Cora Fisher, Joseph Marcel as Reverend Watts, Martin Bassendale as the Crooked Man, and Leah McNamara as Effie Kolb. Hellboy and Joe are on a routine cargo transport objective from the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, or BPRD, until their train derails in a remote Appalachian community, one rife with witches, those who have bargained with the Crooked Man. They meet up with one of the locals, Tom, who once made this bargain, but he now gains the assistance of the new arrivals to help put a stop to the Crooked Man and the evil deeds of the witches. But Hellboy has his own history with witches, one that is soon dredged up. Magic and folklore runs deep in the Appalachians. Many of the witches we see in Hellboy are depicted as old women. While this may simply be playing into the classic crone archetype, it may also be a nod to the uniquely Appalachian folk magic, often referred to as granny magic or granny witchcraft. This tradition is a unique blend of European colonizer beliefs, African spiritual practices, faith healing, and indigenous knowledge of the land. Passed down through the generations, it was primarily practiced by women who served as healers and herbalists in their communities. But the witches of Hellboy aren't here to heal. They are here to cause harm.
Anyhow, ain't no doctor gonna do him no good.
Why is that?
'Cause he's a witch, that's why.
The ability to curse has been attributed to witches for centuries. One key example of a witch's curse in Hellboy comes after the discovery of a witch ball.
They want to know how to make a witch ball.
Folklore suggests that witch balls were a tightly rolled ball of cow or horse hair, and that witches would indeed place them under the doorstep of their intended victim, or throw it at an image of the person to inflict harm upon the corresponding body part. Witches were said to have many methods of transporting themselves through the night to carry out their curses. In Hellboy, a witch travels as a raccoon, only able to return to her true form by re-entering her shed skin. This idea of skin-shedding witches appears in folklore across Africa, Europe, the Caribbean, and the Americas. Witches would leave behind their skin and, depending on the story, would travel as an animal, a fireball, or simply without their skin, their muscles glimmering red and raw. To protect one's home from these witches, people would prop up a broom or scatter grains near their door, as witches were compelled to count every grain or bristle, leaving them no time to carry out their evil deeds, as they would have to leave by dawn. If salt or spices were rubbed into the shed skin of these witches, they would be unable to return to their true form. But the witches of Hellboy also travel by horse, but not just any horse would do.
What they do, Daddy? What?
There is a tale in Kennet Valley that a witch would sneak into a certain carter's room while he was sleeping and put a magical bridle over his head. This turned him into a horse, and she rode him this way each night, and he woke feeling exhausted. A thatcher took his place one night, but he was able to slip free of the bridle, turning the witch's magic against her. There are many such tales of people being ridden by witches. It even came up in the infamous Salem witch trials of 1692, as Mary Warren claimed that Martha Emerson used one such bridle. turned into horse or not, witches were said to ride people to their sabbaths. Not only people, they could ride on chairs, poles, brooms, and animals, such as goats, as preferred by Hellboy's mother.
Consorted with demons, flew upon the black goat and gave herself at the sabbath.
Witches were said to attend their sabbaths to pay homage to the devil. After all, it was supposedly after a deal with him that they received their magical abilities and their familiars.
A demon familiar, I expect.
I hate those.
They feed on the witch they're attached to.
In some historical witch trials, familiars were often used as evidence of a pact with the devil. Interrogators would ask for the names of an accused witch's familiars, or search their bodies for a witch mark, the place where a witch was said to feed her familiar. These spirit companions could take on many forms, from insects to black cats. And it is a black cat that Tom needs as an ingredient to make a deal with the crooked man.
So I went out and I got me a dead black cat. When my ma was out, I boiled it on the stovetop till it went all to pieces. Took that mess down to the creek to clean off the bones. Now, Effie told me whatever bone I was holding when the devil showed up, that was gonna be my lucky bone.
This method stems from European folk magic and African American hoodoo. No deal with the devils required, but it was believed only one bone from a black cat would be of use, and there were various methods to finding this bone. It would be either the first to float when immersed in water, or when placed in the practitioner's mouth. The correct bone would either taste bitter or turn the practitioner invisible. This film is adapted from the Hellboy graphic novel of the same name by Mike Mignola. His Hellboy comics are deeply influenced by folklore all around the world, which is why I liked the comics so much. And many scenes in the film are lifted directly from the comics. But for me, the final product was poorly edited and felt rushed. It had so much potential, but just fell flat. If you are after more Witches of Hellboy, you can check out my Witch Lore review of the 2019 Hellboy film, which combined many elements of the comics and made, in my opinion, for a great watch. What did you think of this film? And what witchy books, films, or shows have you been into lately? Let me know in the comments and feel free to suggest what I should cover next. If you like what I do here, you can help support my channel by donating via the thanks button or simply completing your Witch Way ritual in liking this video, sharing it with others who you think may enjoy it, and subscribing to my channel to stay notified of upcoming content. And as always, thank you very much for watching here on Witch Way.